Now, I have done a red and blue makeup reveal before, and these colors in the new Skin Illustrator palette would absolutely work for that, but it's also designed to work with these. So that's what we're going to attempt, to see if we can get the 3D glasses to work on the final makeup. Now, while designing this look, I did learn some of the rules to get the effect to work. One of those things is you're gonna want the red and the blue image to be as exact as possible. We're talking stencils or projector are really going to be ideal in this. Also, the red and blue should be shifting left to right, not up and down or any kind of diagonal. And which color is to the left or right is going to change what plane of the image it's on. So we're gonna want to play with that later. Before we do anything, we're gonna need a design. I wanted the final image to look like a sticker or a cool tattoo. Skulls and roses seem like a pretty good subject. Created everything in Adobe Illustrator. That way I could easily create the effect in the computer and make sure it works. Now remember the ability to play with the different planes of an image? If we have the red to the left, that's gonna bring it the most forward into the foreground, making it the closest image. The 2 roses, I wanted that to look like it's sitting in front of the skull, so we're gonna paint it that way. Now for the skull, I switched the blue to the left, and that's gonna push it back from those initial 2 roses. And the rose on the back of the skull, we're gonna keep it with that blue. I'm just going to shift it a little further left, and that's gonna make it look a little further back. I did make some anchor points on the image, so that way, if anything shifted, I had hoped that I could just kind of get the head back in position and go back to painting. Well, in theory, yeah. The roses on cardstock and used the Skin Illustrator colors to paint them. Used a light behind the print to make it easier to trace. Then just cut them out. Now, since it's gonna be on a head, stencils are going to be a bit of a nightmare, so I decided to pick up a projector from Amazon. Okay, so in a perfect world, I would have my model laying down or even on a comfortable table to minimize movement while I'm trying to paint both of these images. Probably guessed that the setup I ended up starting with is gonna be a problem. Okay, application day, we're gonna start out with a base of white because I really want these colors to pop. Then sprayed green marble sealer over top because white is a pain to get nice and opaque, and if I mess up with these colors, oh no! I kind of want to make sure that that white is as most protected as possible. Also airbrushed some Skin Illustrator white concentrate over everything to smooth it out. Took some doing, but finally got the image lined up. And for whatever reason, the projector wasn't staying tightly screwed to the stand. This is gonna be real fun. I mean, you can see how bad this projector is wobbling. I swear it's on a light stand, but watching this, you'd probably think my setup looks more like that. Time to start the first color. Originally, I had the image with red and blue. This is how I did the roses, but with the projector, it wasn't as easy to see each individual color. Luckily, I did save the file in each color, so we're just gonna swap to that. I tried to hold his head in position just to help keep him still. I realize this is a huge ask for anyone just to stay as completely still as possible without any kind of support. Trying my best to keep an eye if stuff is shifting and paint as fast as I can. But the projector also needed more support. The light stand just moved so much because it is on carpeting, so any kind of movement was just going to make the projector shift. Tried to figure out a way to magically shift it back in place, but as you can see, the teeth are completely out of whack. This is just not gonna work. Time to rethink and clean up that white makeup. We did end up figuring out a way to recline him, and there is a pillow in the lower back in hopes that this won't be too uncomfortable for the time span. Put the projector at an angle, which, yeah, that's gonna be a pain later too. Yes, the projector did end up shifting between the carpet, and probably the fact that it's on an angle isn't gonna help anything. The projector is just gonna add to issues. So I kind of hoped that this was the last little bit of shifting it was gonna do, so I just remarked those anchor points, and we're just gonna go with this. Mehron edge in white worked great to clean up any lines. Did have to tweak some areas that are now completely misaligned. Trying to paint as fast as I can. Since you can see the bald cap in the back is wrinkling, we're just gonna have to paint that later once he's back up in a seated position. Went through, cleaned up the lines and darkened areas. Now for the red layer, I just could not get those anchor points to match up. We're just gonna have to find a happy medium and just keep going. The red was super rough, but I really just wanted to try to get all the shapes down before any more shifting was gonna happen. Now I'm just gonna finish the back of the head and try to clean everything up. trying to make it look as crisp as possible, bouncing between the red and blue color. Mehron Edge was a lifesaver trying to clean up anything. Just trimmed up the top rose so it looked like it was behind the skull and taped the other 2 roses. I'd say that's not bad for a first attempt. Definitely want to play more with these red and blue makeup reveals using this palette, so be sure to keep an eye out.